Today we're training a breakfall progression. Let's get started. Once you get comfortable rolling into your position of landing, the next step in the progression can be benefited by having a few external things. So if you have either a partner or a crash pad, or best yet, both a partner and a crash pad, I highly recommend that at this stage in the learning progression you use them. Using a crash pad to help learn the position of landing safely is not about not being hardcore. It's about building proper neurological patterns. The more reps you get of a well-executed skill, regardless of where you're landing, the better you're imprinting that in your brain. So if you do have to take a harder fall on a harder surface later, you have the proper structure in place, right? It's drilled into you. So hopefully you have a partner to help you assist, or a crash pad to help you land into. But if you don't have a partner or a crash pad, you can, of course, progress now into throwing yourself over and into this fall. So the mechanics are very similar. Here's my forward roll as I come up and over. Now my back leg is coming up and over with my arm. And I roll over my arm and shoulder into the fall position. I want to make the same roll happen. I'm still rolling through my shoulder. My head is going to turn up and in. I'm still going to track my back foot and arm, but I'm also going to push off of my base foot as I roll through. And I want to come completely through and over. See how I help use my hands to guide this initial momentum to flip. And as I do that, as I pass my base leg, I connect my head, hand, and foot in sight line to carry over the top, right? Again, this is something where I want to be sure that I'm not kicking out. I don't want to open my hips. People tend to want to bail sideways on this fall before they're used to it, but it's not beneficial to properly utilizing the momentum and hitting a safe impact. I want to be sure that I'm bringing everything through, around, and over the top to hit my fall. So one more time how it looks on a roll. I'm coming through and falling in this position. And then I just push, extend, and rotate to find that exact same position as I throw myself into the fall. I bounce a little bit more because there's more momentum coming down, but that's a safe position of landing. You'll notice something else that I do when I execute the flip fall is that I have a tendency to adjust my feet back. I almost shuffle step back to slide them forward. And that helps reposition my center of gravity with relation to my force coming out of the ground so that I can rotate through a little bit easier. If you're using the friend progression, you likely won't need this because you get extra lift from their clasped arms. So when you have your partner helping you, you can have them grip your offhand, right? Forearm to forearm. And you want to be sure that they have a good solid position and they're going to guide you in a nice clear arc in front of their body. Which is to say, if they're executing the flip fall here, I'm the basing partner, my other partner is falling here in front of me, flipping over. As I grip their other hand, I want to help cast them and then keep them up out of the mat. So I can help cast them forward. I don't want to drop them into the mat. I want to keep them elevated. So I have this nice sort of arc as they start their rolling motion, and then I help pull their head and arm and shoulder all connected through the circle. But I'm keeping this in the plane in front of me. I don't want to pull into my body because that will initiate some of that top spin that we don't want. We don't want their legs kicking out into the side. I want to keep a smooth arc in the same line in front of my body as they're learning that fall. So if you spend some time at each step of the progression, hopefully your body is learning how to hit that position and find that fall. Again, it's a smoother ride if you can practice into a crash pad or with a partner. I highly recommend it. Don't just start tossing yourself into the ground. It's not fun and you could get hurt. But with proper supervision from a trained instructor, hopefully this progression is a supplement to some of that coaching that you might otherwise receive. So this is one of my breakfall progressions, right? Useful for those forward flipping breakfalls where you'll land in a side fall position, like you'll see done out of a lot of Hapkido or Aikido joint locks. I think it's a lot of fun and it's useful to learn how to fall safely in that context. Again, this progression focused on that fall and specifically for ways to mitigate your force when you're dealing with mats or you're in a good training environment. If you're interested in seeing one of the modifications that I make when I'm taking harder falls, maybe where I don't have access to mats or there are some other environmental considerations, the extended version of this video on my Patreon this week is going to discuss one of those variations. So check it out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this progression and I hope that we get the chance to train together again soon.